Hey guys, so in today's lecture, we are going to discuss energy monitoring and targeting. So this is second section of this chapter. So there were two parts. First was financial management, and the second is EM&T, that is energy monitoring and targeting. So we will discuss various topics under EM&T. So the first topic we are going to discuss is benefits of EM&T. But before that, you will see definition of EM&T. So what is energy monitoring? So energy monitoring is one of the techniques of tracking the consumption of energy sources such as gas, water and electricity. So any energy that we are utilizing, that can be petrol, diesel, gas or coal, electricity. So all energy can be monitored. So that tracking is called energy monitoring. So energy monitoring is a technique. So it is a technique that relies on not only qualitative but also quantitative information. So this definitions and benefits of energy monitoring and targeting we have seen in the last lecture. So in today's lecture we are going to discuss elements of monitoring and targeting. So these are the benefits which we have seen in last lecture. That is energy cost saving, waste avoidance, coordination of energy management policy, improved budgeting, better preventive maintenance, improved product quality, improved product and service costing, increase in ROI. So today's lecture we are going to discuss elements of monitoring and targeting. So what are the various elements of monitoring and targeting? So how we can monitor any energy source and how we can in further target, we can set target to reduce or to use qualitatively and quantitatively. So as you can see in the diagram, as it is shown, that first step is a record, that before you propose any change or to the system, you need to record that how much energy is utilized, how much water is used, how much oil is used, how much electricity is consumed. So all the energy you need to first record, that how much it is being used. So that is the first step of EMT. So to record, to measure the energy consumption in plant facility area. So the targeted area should be completely recorded in order to have good analysis of the data. So it should be completely recorded, means you should not miss any day, any point, any type, any portion of the uh, any portion of the company. So the data should be complete. So data is a raw material for analysis. So after you get a data, so the second step, that is analysis. So that is raw material. So data is raw material. So only collecting data will not help in if you do not analyze it. So analyzing is also an important step. So next step is to analyze the collected data. So this data is required to correlate with energy consumption to output, such as, see, if production volume is increased, then the consumption may increase. So that is good, means that is proportional. So that data should be matched with the output. So based on analysis of past data, some reference lines or benchmarks is created for evaluation. So even though the production is not happening in the company, then also energy may be utilized for other purposes. So this is the second and most important step, that is analyzing the data. So you need to set some benchmark also, that you cannot directly correlate. There is not proportional directly that energy used is directly proportional to the output produced. So there may be various factors which may affect the production increase or reduction. So you need to give more and more uh, power of variables. Then the next, so after record, that is collection of data, then analysis, then next is compare. So the collected data is required to be comparing with any defined benchmark. Means that is, if there's a benchmark is set, that where you want to reach, at which quality you want to reach, so that benchmark you need to create first, and then you need to compare with it. So it evaluates whether the present energy consumption is higher or lower. Also the reasons for the same is being evaluated while comparison. So after collecting the data, analyzing the data, and creating the benchmark, you need to plot the reasons that why your consumption is greater or lower than the benchmark which you have set. So various reasons you need to plot first, that due to this reason the energy consumption is high or low. So now what is the next step? So after you have compared, you know the reasons, so you need to act on that reasons. So the next is setting the target. So if the energy consumption is higher than the reference mark, so the consumption is required to be reduced by setting targets. So target should be achievable and feasible. So it should not be unachievable or ideal. So it should be achievable, means it should be proven that it can be achieved. So in that way you need to set the target that this much energy we can save by changing or implementing some of the other things. So that target you need to set first. Then again the next step, that is monitoring. So monitor. So what is monitoring? So once you have set the target, so now the energy consumption is happening, so it needs to be continuously monitored, that it is inclining towards the target, or it is inclining declining above, again in opposite direction to the target. So you need to continuously monitor that your suggestions, your findings has helped the company in saving the energy or not. So the that is the fifth point, that is monitoring. So after monitoring, so the sixth point is reporting. So reporting is the monitoring data is also analyzed in order to check any variance from the targets. So what target you set. So after monitoring, you collect, monitoring also means collecting the data. So that data needs to checked with the target set. So that is called reporting. So if any variance, if though there is a variant in your data you have collected and the target you have set, so corrective action needs to be taken, that why it is not moving towards the target and why it is deviating from the target. So that needs to be that needs to be done. So that is reporting. And last is controlling. So after you have found that may possible that uh, your your data, that is you what you collected the data that is deviating from the target. So the corrective action is required to be implemented by the management in order to correct any variance for meeting the target. So for meeting the target, the management has to take some action. So this is the elements of EM&T, that is energy monitoring and targeting. That is record, then analyze, then compare, then set target, then monitor, then report and control. So this is a full complete cycle of EM&T, that is energy monitoring and targeting. With the help of this, you can save the energy. So now the next topic which we are going to discuss is D&IA, means that is data and information analysis. So in data and information analysis, so within the activity of monitoring and targeting, data and information are distinct entities. So what is difference between data and information? So what you are collecting, the parameters, that is the data, and what after analyzing what you are concluding, that why the energy is being wasted, so that is information. So data and information are different entities. So the activity of monitoring facility system or process encompasses both measurement and analysis. So measurement and analysis, this both it encompasses in monitoring and targeting. So if you measure, you will get data, and if you analyze, you will get information, and if you then you take action and you will get a result. So data are raw numbers such as would be the result of any measurement. So if you're measuring that how much liters of water is consumed, how much watts of how much units of electricity is consumed, that is data. So you will but what we want is information. So information is a result of certain type of analysis upon data. So you need to do analysis on that data. The collection of numbers are collected. So collection of numbers collected is data. Only the numbers are called data. So for example, energy consumption and production of melt furnace are routinely measured and recorded. So it is only data. But when an analysis is done on data, it is termed as information. So that is information. So analysis, what is analysis? So analysis is a key feature of monitoring function. So without analysis, you will not get conclusion that what is happening. So management information provokes questions about performance that would not be evident in raw data. So if some question is asked, so from data you cannot find out directly. So after comparing, analyzing, you may conclude the reasons. So and it can lead to actions for correction of problems. So as it looks is as simple, but the relation between data and information is different. So energy monitoring is used to find how much energy is costing your organization or our organization, and for developing information, to develop the information to use a basis for controlling consumption. It is a technique relies on quantitative, not just qualitative information. So quantitative and quality both. So qualitative indicators are sensitive and detectable, but not easily quantified, and often depend on subjective impression. But the energy monitoring requires quantitative information, usually measured. So uh, we always in monitoring generally we require quantitative information. So what are the quantitative information? So that is, for suppose there is energy billings data, so electricity bill, so including electrical demand and consumption, fuel consumption costs, consumption measurements at some level. For example, the entire building, a production department, an individual energy consuming system. That is, if you are getting energy bill of your whole company, then you may not know that what energy particular department, like grinding department, finishing department, there are so many department, assembly department, so how much energy each department is using. Then in again, in department there are various machines, so it may be possible that one machine is using more energy though they are doing the same job. So it may possible that one machine is older, or it is aged, so it may use more energy, or it may possible that maintenance is not carried out, so uh, due to which it may consume more power. So that kind of analysis, or that kind of information uh, can be known after you collect data from each and every department or a machine. So key that is key independent variables that influence energy consumption, such as production of manufacturing system. Now let's relate energy consumption and production. So when production is directly related to energy consumption, that is, if you are producing more components, more and more uh, output, then it's obvious that energy consumption may also be increased. The specific energy consumption is to be calculated. So specific energy consumption is the ratio of energy consumed per unit production. So for example, when specific energy is plotted as a time series, so it may vary in up and down. So even the time series of plot of specific energy doesn't tell us very much. So for evaluation of data, regression analysis is performed. So various analysis, that is, one is Kusum, that is cumulative sum of differences. So this type of various analysis we will study in next lecture, and we will also see various examples on this. So what is Kusum? So Kusum is cumulative sum of differences. So where difference refers to differences between the actual consumption and the consumption you expect on the basis of established pattern. So what we have called the energy performance model. So this we will see in our next lecture, that is Kusum, Cusum. So thank you very much. So we'll see next lecture, Kusum.